Welcome to House Jones. I am Mr. Patchins, your head of house. I am so excited and proud to announce you that you belong now to the magnificent House Jones. A house. A House Jones is part of the new Lambeth Academy house system that is made of four houses. We've got the House Archer, the House Thornton, and the House Dabo, as well as obviously our House Jones. But why a house at Lambeth Academy? Why a house system? And what is the vision of the house system at Lambeth Academy? We at Lambeth Academy put into place this innovative house system that will enable the promotion and development of leadership amongst every student, as it will provide many opportunities for each individual to demonstrate the best attributes. It will also give us the opportunity to work all together across key stages and year groups, and so reinforce the cohesion of the Lambeth Academy community. You, students, and us, staff, will highly benefit from a strong ethos of integrity and a powerful community spirit that will bring us together during house competition and beyond. I would like to use a rainbow cake analogy to make more sense to this house system, where the whole cake represents here on the picture the Lambeth Academy community, and each horizontal color layer represents a year group in which there is already a strong sense of community cohesion. With our new house system, each house will be represented by a fourth slice of the whole cake, so that our House Jones will be a strong cohesive community within the whole Lambeth Academy school community. Our house will be a community within the Lambeth Academy community. Now, before we go into more details into how the house system works and what it involves, let's zoom onto why Claudia Jones has been chosen as an emblem of a house. Who is Claudia Jones? What are her achievements? And how did she contribute to our society? Claudia Jones had a very difficult childhood. She was born in Trinidad in 1915 in the Caribs. She then very quickly moved at the age of 9 years old to New York with her family. She grew up in a very poor part of Harlem in New York. She lost her mom at the age of 14 years old. And she also caught, unfortunately, a very bad infectious disease called tuberculosis at the age of 17, which damaged her lungs for all her life. So she suffered from tuberculosis all her life. Then, Jones, at school, she won the Theodore Roosevelt Award for good citizenship. And this shows already at a very young age that Claudia Jones, was actively involved to make positive changes in her society. She then graduated from high school, but her family unfortunately could not afford the expenses to attend a graduation ceremony. Although Jones was one of the best students in her school, she was forced to stop her academic progress due to, at the time, some discriminatory measures in the US against immigrants, against women, and against the BAME community. As a result of that, she could not continue to study to higher education. She was stuck. She could not go on to university. As a result, Claudia Jones started to work in a laundry in Harlem, while she started to write a column in a local newspaper called the Harlem Journal. Claudia Jones was definitely a very resilient person. She was also passionate about writing. She loved writing. Jones quickly wrote in a variety of journals, such as the Daily Worker, the Weekly Review, the Spotlight, the Negroes Affairs, in some magazines as well, in Political Affairs, as well as in the Communist Journal. Claudia Jones gains very quickly a lot of respect and move up the career ladder, supported by her extremely high resilience. And as a result, Jones got more and more responsibilities and eventually ended up taking the role of the journalist editor. Claudia Jones was definitely a great orator, and she was an outspoken advocate of civil rights. She was fighting for gender equality, with a strong focus on defending black women against discrimination in the US. As an example for activism, Jones campaigned for equal pay. She campaigned for equal work. She campaigned for funding for wartime children programs for education. She also campaigned for the right to access to the best school and university, regardless genders, regardless ethnicities. Here on the right is a picture that shows Malcolm X holding a journal on which Claudia Jones was on the front cover. Malcolm X could not be more proud to have Claudia Jones fighting for civil rights with him. Malcolm X was supporting her in a fight. Also, Claudia Jones led the fight against gender discrimination in the US, and as a result, she became the executive secretary of Women's National Commission. She even had the opportunity to take position in the National Peace Council. Claudia Jones was definitely a very strong and powerful leader. Unfortunately, Claudia Jones experienced persecution. Due to Jones' affiliation to the Communist Political Party, as well as her activism, she suffered from political persecution and became subject of aggressive investigation by the US government. Her political activity led to multiple imprisonments while in the US, so she went several times to prisons. And she finally ended up being forced to immigrate in the UK, so she had to leave the US to be deported to UK in London. Once in London, Claudia Jones kept on a fight for equal rights. She kept on fighting, and she turned her full attention to issues facing the London West Indian immigrant community. One of her best achievements came, in fact, in 1958, when she founded the Brixton first Afro-Asian Caribbean newspaper called the West Indian Gazette. She worked for this newspaper, the West Indian Gazette. She worked as a journalist, and also she worked as an editor-in-chief for this newspaper. Jones was also very creative. She used her creativity in her battle against discrimination. Jones had a brilliant idea to create the Notting Hill Carnival as a way to provide a platform alongside the journal West Indian Gazette to celebrate the Caribbean culture. As a result, this carnival reinforced the cohesion within the British Caribbean community as well as between other communities and cultures. This was definitely a very innovative way to unify the black communities, not only locally around London in a fight against discrimination, as well as around the world, as the Notting Hill Carnival became internationally famous. Now, I would like to summarize what Claudia Jones represents for us, members of House Jones, and therefore what is our identity as belonging to this House Jones. During all her life, Claudia Jones went through a long series of knockbacks. From her childhood when she grew up in a very poor part of Harlem, in New York, Jones had to work double harder to make it to the professional position she eventually ended up to. When being politically persecuted and thrown several times in prison for defending women's equal rights. Jones clearly displayed throughout all her life very high level of resilience. Jones was truly committed to make progress for herself and others, as well as for the society as a whole. She was truly committed to overcome any barriers or obstacles on her way. We, House Jones, will demonstrate the highest level of resilience and will be committed to do better and better, and as a result to make great progress. Claudia Jones only was a strong leader. Claudia Jones took and led many journalists under her wing while working as a journalist editor. Jones also was a strong leader via her powerful speeches and her writing. She was able to engage and stimulate the intellects and heart of various groups of people. She used to bring various groups of people together for a common honorable fight. House Jones will without no doubt use powerful words to demonstrate throughout the coming House competitions honorable and strong leadership. In a fight for equal rights against discrimination, not only Claudia Jones always used the power of words and value education, she was committed to literacy. She also thought that creativity leading her to achieve unbelievable outcomes. We, House Jones, will be creative in our thinking. We will be thinking outside the box when necessary. We will be solving the most tedious and complex problems. Those 4 attributes, resilience, strong leader, committed to literacy, and creative, will be who we are. We will be believing in, we will be demonstrating day in, day out, those 4 attributes. Now, I would like you to wear with pride your badge, your House Jones badge. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to wear on the left lap your badge. These will be part of a uniform, and also make sure you keep it with you, you don't lose it, because otherwise you will have to pay £3 to replace it. I give you 2 minutes. Off you go. Okay, so now you should have time to wear this with pride, this badge of House Jones. Now we are going to move on to talking a bit more about how the House system works. So, what a successful house looks like, how we are going to be successful in a house. So first of all, we need to be exceptional. We need to have an exceptional attendance. We need to have a lot of merit. We need to accumulate as many merits as we can. We need to have a lot of postcards. We need to have, and we need to attend to many clubs. So the more clubs we will be attending, the more success our house would have. We need to share some creative ideas. We need to participate to events. The more participation to events, the more points we will accumulate. We need to have an absolutely exceptional behavior inside and outside school. We also need to share those creative ideas that you will have. We need to be supportive to each other in competitions and in not competitions. We need to be committed to make progress at all time. We need to do our best at all the time. We're going to need to be very competitive, but we need to play fair. We're going to need to be exceptional as well in terms of homework. Your homework had to be completed to the best of you can. And finally, we need to bring people together. A successful house looks like a house that brings everybody together. So, how the house points would work. As you know, your performance on daily basis will contribute to the overall success of a house. Are the other 3 hours better than us? No way they will be. Now, this will be work on daily contributions for the highest number of merits, for example, the highest attendance, or the highest level of engagement in, for example, Seneca, Agatha Maths, Sparks, Language Nuts, Go Chinese. We also will be taking in consideration the lowest number of late marks. So make sure you are on time all the time to your lesson, to school. We also will be taken into consideration how many times a member of a house will go to reflection. Hopefully no one will go to reflection. We also will be taken in consideration the detention for missing homework. And again, homework is really important. So now we also will be taken in consideration the participation in all the competition. So it's very important that as many as we can have, as many people can actually get involved in those competitions. The computer will calculate a house point over the year, and we will have a leaderboard update every 2 weeks. A trophy will be lifted in July, by the end of the year, in July 2021. Now, how it would work is a large or small competition. The first place will be awarded with 100 house points. Obviously, that would be for the House Jones. Then the second place would be 75 points, third place 50 points, and fourth place 25 points. Okay. Again, the house are always given for taking part. So house point is very important regarding participation. We need to have as maximum person to be involved, to get involved in those events, so we will gain marks as well. So it is very vital to enter in competition, even though we don't necessarily favor. Let's start with the first competition. The first competition is about designing our shield. And to design our shield, we need to have 4 symbols to represent our house. So the deadline is in December the 1st, and obviously, again, the first place will get 100 points. So I would like you to take 1 minute with the person sitting next to you to discuss how would you design the shield, knowing that there are 4 corners on that shield, and that her house has 4 main attributes, which are, I remind you, resilience, strong leader, committed to literacy, and creativity. So think about how to symbolize those 4 key attributes. Be creative. I'll give you 1 minute to discuss it, and then feedback to your tutor. Off you go. Okay, so in 3, 2, and 1. So what I would like you to do, I would like you to think thoroughly and discuss over the next few days, as well as probably start to sketch a few drawings regarding this shield design. And I would like you to send an email to me. I will give you my email later on in that presentation. Okay, so let's keep in touch for that. Now, let's see what is the next competition. What are the next competitions that are coming up very quickly? So this week, what we will have? We will have a house rowing competition. Each house will have their own rowing machines, and we will be able to row the greatest distance in total. I would like you to get involved in that. The strongest of you needs to get involved in that house rowing competition. So 1 minute per participant. You need to go see break time, lunchtime, Mr. Show. We will have also a fun game requiring quick thinker that will be run by Miss Anderson on the Muga. Obviously, we've got a house shield that is coming up over the next couple of weeks. Now, for next week, for competition, we will have to create a house anthem. We will have to compete at table tennis. We will have to compete at Kippy Hippie Legend, and we will have to need to have a few chess masters. So think about it, and you're gonna have to contact me via my email to tell me if you want to participate to those competitions. So, what would happen? What should happen in next competition is you, and my email is just there. So I would like you to write. If you don't have that email yet, I would like you to write in your planner my email. That's to that email that you need to contact me, whether you want to participate to a competition or whether you have an idea of a new competitions you would like us to put in place. So I'll give you 30 seconds to write this address on your planner, please. Can you write it where you have all your probably your Seneca logins? You should have space here. Okay, so now you should have taken down my new address emails on which you're going to contact me, which is brilliant. Now we have a couple of messages of support from individuals that are very knowledgeable of the work of Claudia Jones, as well as very knowledgeable about biography. We've got the Institute of Race Relations, which is an independent educational charity that carried out research that informed the struggle of racial justice in Britain, Europe, and also at international level too. So the director of this Institute of the Race Relation was so proud that Lambeth Academy has chosen Claudia Jones for her house name. He was so pleased that the Lambeth Academy will honor all the great work achieved by Claudia Jones against racial discrimination. That were his words. We also have another message from, if I can move on, from Joyce Fraser. Joyce Fraser has written a biography of Claudia Jones. He's also the founder and the chair of the Black Heroes Foundation that is using arts to bring joy to telling stories and celebrating Black heroes. Those are his words. Thank you so much for contacting the Black Heroes Foundation, and I am very honored to be part of the launching of Lambeth Academy's House Jones. Good luck to you all, and I am sure House Jones will be the best of all the houses at Lambeth Academy. You will honor and live by the value Claudia Jones had and be the best you can be. I hereby formally announce that House Jones is officially launched. My best wishes, Jones Fraser. So proud to have those messages coming from some knowledgeable people. So, let's make sure House Jones is the most successful. Remember our key attributes. We will be resilient, we will be strong leaders, we will be committed to literacy, and we will be really creative in our moves. What can you do to contribute to our house to make it successful? Let the competition begin. I look forward to seeing you. Thank you very much. That was Mr. Patchens.